Hello. Welcome back for another video. So, as you probably already seen from the title and the thumbnail, today we're going to be talking about some of my worst books that I read this year, if not like the most disappointing, boring, DNFs, things like that. To be quite honest, there weren't very many, which I was very shocked by just because I have read such a large amount of books this year. I was anticipating there being a higher number of books that I was disappointed or didn't really like, but I guess not. I think this year was definitely a really good year in terms of just steering clear and avoiding books that I'm probably not going to enjoy and most likely going to DNF. There have been a few that I didn't like, because hence this video. I think for the most part I did pretty good of just picking up books that I'm interested in. I do believe majority of the books that I have read I would rate 3 stars. If you go to my Goodreads and Storygraph, most of them don't have ratings, don't have reviews. I just been not really doing that this year. Didn't really care, just wanted to read. So there's that. So the first book we have here, I believe, is quite popular, especially the author, and that is People Would Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So I got this as a book of the month pick, whatever month that was, because people were really raving about it and how much they really love Emily Henry, and the excitement for her next book, I believe, is called like Book Lovers. What did y'all like? What was there to like? What did y'all like? What is there to like? Because I was bored through this book. Honestly, like, thinking back on it, I really don't remember much of details. I just remember being bored, wanting things to kind of speed up. Like, I don't mind slow burn and like gradual build of relationships, but like if it's not really selling for me, it is not believable, and it's boring. It's boring, and that's it. I believe this one was about two best friends who used to go on a summer vacation every single year together, and one year something happened between them that kind of broke that relationship, that friendship, and they stopped going on those vacations. And one year they reconnect. I don't remember why, and suddenly they decided to go on a vacation. I think the girl is really hoping to fix that friendship, maybe do things all over again. And I felt like the reasoning behind their not talking and ending the whole vacation was kind of like, I gave this one 2-3 stars. I think the writing was okay. I could see why people like Emily Henry. I just don't think this one was for me. When Beach Read came out, my interest in that wasn't very high. I believe that is about two authors who are on the beach and they swap stories because they're like a writing slump, and so I guess they think writing a different genre and helping the other author will help like getting their inspiration going. And now their third book, Book Lovers, is coming out, and I'm excited because it's book related. From what I'm aware of, most of their books are book related somehow, whether it's like a reader character or an author character or an English teacher character. There's some kind of book element into it. But I was interested in Beach Read. People Me was a 2-3 star. Is Book Lovers magically gonna be better? Doubtful. I'm not ready to talk about these next books. These next two books are LGBT plus representation. They're also the main couple in the books. I was really excited for these because they sounded really good, and also LGBT. These books were so infuriating. They were so infuriating. So the first one is Some Girls Do by Jennifer Dugan. So this book is about these two girls who, I believe one is new to the school. And they meet from God knows what reason. I don't even know what the reason was. And one of them, I think, is immediately intrigued by the other one, and the other one is kind of unsure. So one of them, from my understanding, is very, very closeted and does not handle that very well. Some LGBT people do not have the safe space or the opportunity to come out and express themselves the way that they want to because of the people around them or the environment they're in. And in this book, that is shown that she is not necessarily in the great environment to be doing that. And I feel like the way that she handled that is not great because she does tend to sabotage herself and her friends and backstab and treat the people around her like absolute crap. And I felt like the way she treated the other characters was not great. And so in the ending, when they got together, I was just like, what are we doing here? Because one, I felt like the relationship wasn't believable. I feel like the girl who was closeted, a lot of the time, she was treating the other girl like absolute crap. I just want to pop here and explain this better. So Ruby was not out yet or have come to terms with her sexuality, so she was definitely really struggling with that and treated Morgan like absolute garbage majority of the book for absolutely no reason. There was a huge miscommunication because none of them knew how to communicate their feelings or just be honest with each other and just get mad for the stupidest things. And Morgan was like, I'm out. I'm ready. You should be too kind of attitude. And that was just nasty. This whole book was a mess. I was just very frustrated throughout the whole book because, like, I just didn't see any reason for her to treat the other one like crap like that or just miscommunicate certain things. So when they got together and I was furious because, like, if it was me, we wouldn't be getting together. You would have some groveling to do. Like, that's enough for me. So that book was a whole, like, a 1-star, 2-star thing. And it seems like I'm not the only one that felt that way. The next book is May the Best Man Win. Woo-wee! So this one is about a trans character who has transitioned from being a girl to a male. And recently they have decided to run for homecoming king. And they happen to be going against their ex-boyfriend before they had transitioned. This is one of those enemies to lovers situation, which I like. I adore enemies to lovers, but this felt like straight bullying, harassment, backstabbing, gross, insulting. This was not enemies. This was just being a jerk, an asshole, just because. So I'm popping in because I feel like I didn't explain this well or get into all the points. So let's just get into this. This book was trash, and I highly recommend do not read it. It's just, no. So first off, we have some autism rep, which I feel like could have been done significantly better. Honestly, it could have been left out because I feel like the way that the author included it, it was kind of just thrown in there to just have rep and then kind of forgotten about for the rest of the book. You don't know what happened. You don't really know how it was resolved. You don't really see anything growth with it. It was like, oh yeah, so I'm struggling in school and I got autism. Okay, next, moving on. Just popping in here because I just thought of something else. So there was some representation with the characters being Hispanic or Asian or half of something or part of something. Again, it was something that was told to you, not really shown to you. It was something kind of just thrown in there and then forgotten about, or later on contradicted when there's another character description. It was just a whole lot of here's this, here's this, here's this, and then moving on, completely forgetting about it. That was that. Then there is a lot of unnecessary homophobic comics throughout the book, which at first it may sound like, okay, that makes sense. Doesn't really go with the book. It kind of just puts in there randomly, which now makes sense because the author has been caught and now known for making homophobic, lesbian-phobic, gay-phobic, etc. comments. But yet they write LGBT plus books. Make it make sense. Main characters, I don't even care what their names are. I generally don't care. One of them, like I said, is transitioning from a female to a male, and the other one is their ex. Their ex posts photos of them before their transition and uses their dead name on posters. Both of them make transphobic, etc. comments toward each other. There's huge miscommunication. They go from a very light-hearted, very important story about trans relationships into very dark, spooky, unnecessary. Like they start a fire in school. I think something happens with drugs and pills. I believe they start tearing down posters and decoration of the school for what? There's one review, I'll link it down below, that goes way into detail, like paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. Like, this is one of those books where you can tell that the author wanted to write to get the views because they know that readers want to read about that representation and diversity. You can tell that they do not care for it because of how it was written. It was infuriating, and it was gross, and it was annoying. So, I'm going to leave some of those very lengthy reviews down below. I'll leave my reviews for this and Some Girls Do down below. And if you still continue to decide to read it, bless your soul. I see what the book was going for, and I see what the author was trying to do. But if I was the friend of either of these two, they would have got smacked up at least 5 times. They'd be like, hold on. You need to stop. How about we just sit down like civil human beings and talk this out? Because you're not going to drag me into this. You're not going to burn my school down. You're not going to treat me like... No. Then, there was one where one of the characters threw some derogatory terms to the other one, and I was like, you supposedly love this person, still want to have feelings for them being in a relationship, and you just out here just beep 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 beep. I was oh. But you know, of course, it's a contemporary romance. They gotta get together at the end. We could just sweep it underneath the rug and pretend like it didn't happen. That was a whole 1 star for me. I was like, wow. So the next book is All Stirred Up. This one is another contemporary romance I read earlier in the year. So this one was another one that I was kind of like, what the heck is happening? So this is about a woman, I believe her name is like Susan or Karen, one of them kind of names. And she's coming back to town after her family's restaurant legacy is kind of going to garbage. She's trying to save it, trying to rebuild, trying to help. And I believe in the process of doing that, she ends up having competition with another restaurant that her ex-boyfriend is at. First of all, I was just bored, okay? And then I was very confused because I felt like there was a lot going on. So I felt like with the romance between the two main characters, it didn't last very long because she was single for a while, focusing on one thing. Then she dated the celebrity character. They broke up, and within like a couple chapters, she's with the ex-boyfriend. And I'm like, there really was no buildup of you and that ex-boyfriend's relationship for you to decide to get back together. It was kind of just, hey, I miss you. Okay, cool, we're together. And then the whole ending, I was kind of like, very underwhelming, very, It was okay. I think it could have been better. Also, if you're not familiar with the UK or any of their slang or how they talk or their area, this might be a little bit confusing for you because there were some moments I was kind of like, what's happening? And I did have to kind of like take a moment to like look things up to make a full understanding of it, especially when it came to their jokes, because some of the times there would be jokes and a character would laugh or say something and I'd be like, oh, are we supposed to be joking right now? Like, because I'm not familiar with that, it didn't really hit me. So that's something that you're not familiar with, you probably have a similar experience. Another book that I recently, well, this is not recently, it's probably months ago. This is actually a DNF, and that is Love is for Losers. So this one I randomly borrowed one day on Libby using my library, because I thought it was interesting. I believe this is about a girl who hasn't had much luck in the romance part of her life, and she kind of keeps like a diary slash journal, so it's kind of written through her thoughts. I really struggled to get through this. I don't even think I finished it. I felt it was really slow, it was really dry, I was really bored. There were a bit of, because it is a diary, there were a bit of jumps in there, which I don't typically mind in diary format or like, stream of consciousness thoughts type books. But I wasn't feeling like I was getting enough fill-in or explanation, and I was a little confused what was happening. Like when it came down to like 1 or 2 days left of my hold and asked if you would like to renew this or put it back on hold or whatever, and I was like, I'm still on page 10. If maybe even chapter 10, I maybe it was 10%. Either way, I decided not to continue because I did not see myself having any interest in picking it up, and I felt like I was probably more likely to read other things before I even tried to read that. And the last book that I have on list is another DNF, and that is Den of Vipers. This book recently got a lot of hype on YouTube and TikTok, and I want to say a little bit of Instagram. I read this mainly because of TikTok. Also, I believe Gavin, Mel, Olivia, and a couple other YouTubers read it at one point for like a live show or a reading vlog or something. I got this, I think, on Kindle Limited and skimmed through it. When I mean skimmed, I mean skimmed. Almost like I was reading a textbook. This book is thick. It's long. So this book is about a woman who, I think she's kidnapped by these like 3-4 brothers, some kind of gang. I don't even remember why she's there, but she's there, and they all are into her, very attracted to her. She's attracted to them, and basically they have a very sexual relationship that involves a lot of very scary things, like using candles and knives and blood and a water bottle and more knives. I think a gun at one point. Anyways, I was grossed out. I was uncomfortable, honestly kind of traumatized, a little concerned for that character. So after that, and what was the other book? There was another book on TikTok that I attempted. I have stopped listening to TikTok recommendations, or at least really, really have to research the books first, because I'm TikTok is very questionable, because you post a video about a really cool YA book and you get like 7 views, but you put on some Sarah J Maas and women having sexual relations with a man with a knife and a water bottle, you get like 3,000, 3 million views. I'm just like, book talk, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, according to Goodreads, that I might have actually DNF'd that last year. And now you know. If I talked about it, now you know again. So, oh, there's another DNF on here. Another DNF on here is A Cupid's Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by Laura Taylor Naney. This is another contemporary romance that I was interested in reading. I believe this is about a girl who is sent to another country because of something that she's been up to. And she's not having a great time. Okay, so Lila is sent to England for a few months with family friends to kind of relax and reset and get it herself together because something had happened back at home. And they were like, stop. Go over there. Get it together. Restart. Come back when you're ready. But England, there's a lack of sun, there's a grumpy cook, and a small town lacking flavor both in food and otherwise. This trip is starting to feel like a nightmare. Then she meets this man named Orion Maxwell, who's like a tea shop clerk, who has his own issues of his own, but he's really determined to help Lila out of her funk, and becomes like her personal tour guide as she starts to, try to find ways to start doing her cooking and baking as she wants to. This book, I was just bored. I think this is one of those DNFs that I would consider giving a second chance. I think at the time I wasn't really in the mood for it, and unfortunately I just couldn't get into it as well as I wanted to and got a little bit bored and DNF'd it. I believe that is all of the books. Yeah, it's only like, what was that, 7, 8, maybe 9 books. Yeah, for the most part, I think I had a pretty good year, or at least choosing the good books this year. I'm really hoping I keep this up for next year, but at the same time, I'm kind of sad because if I don't have anything to say about worst books next year, I won't have a worst books video. That is really all for today. Let me know down in the comments what are some of your worst books so far, what books really disappointed you, or if you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought of those. I'm curious. Let me know why you think I should give any of these books a second chance. If you have made it this far, leave any emoji that is like bad or mad or sad, because this is a worst books video, so let's do all the little negative emojis. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night, good evening, good morning, or whatever time it is where you are, and goodbye.